Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today we're going to be reviewing The Alexandria Link by Steve Berry. This is book number 2 in his Cotton Malone international thriller series. I've got all the other Cotton Malone books over here in my collection. We've got them all right there. I don't know how many there are there, but I bet there's probably 18 or 19. Anyway, we're reviewing book number 2. So let's get to it. Starts with the covers. You know I love graphic design and cover illustration. These all have pretty good covers, you know. I mean, it says big international thriller. We've got this scene of some stonework and some scrolls and a few things. Nothing too fancy, but it gets the job done. Actually, there's some other books up there in the collection that have better covers than this. But we're not gonna belabor this. This is an average, let's just say it's average. There's nothing special about it. There's nothing that really knocks my socks off about it either. So Cotton Malone number 2. Cotton Malone is a bookseller out of Copenhagen, Denmark, but he's also an international spy. You know, one of those dudes, one of those kind of like James Bond type, Tom Clancy-esque, Brad Thor, Jack Reacher sort of badasses. More of along the lines of a Robert Langdon, though. He delves more into the mysteries, like ancient mysteries, thrillers and world war conflicts that involve like the Illuminati, stuff like that. If you ever read the Da Vinci Code, you know that it was one of the biggest books in the world. And back in the early 2000s, when that was a huge book, there were a lot of copycat writers that tried to mimic the success of the Da Vinci Code. Steve Berry sort of took a lot of those formulas also and tried to mimic that success. And he was probably one of the very, very few authors of the hundreds that tried that actually did it right and actually stuck it through, and his series actually became successful because he does a very Da Vinci Code-esque type thrillers. This one is about the Library of Alexandria. Now, we know that Steve Berry did a lot of research in this subject because in the afterword he talks about the Library of Alexandria, how 500,000 to 700,000 books or scrolls or just parchments that were housed in this library. And this was like around the time of Jesus Christ and Julius Caesar and stuff like this. I mean, this was a massive undertaking. And nobody knows what happened to it. I mean, some people think it was destroyed in a fire. Other people think that when the Muslims invaded that part of the world, they destroyed it or took it. Or other people think that other people destroyed it. So there's no real concrete evidence of what exactly happened to it, other than maybe it just slowly fell into disrepair and people just kind of forgot about it. And it just sort of drifted away over time. Nobody really knows what its ultimate fate was. But all of the information in it was lost. That's the basis of the hook for this book, in that there is a big worldwide conspiracy that might destroy the world based off of this lost library. And in comes Cotton Malone. His ex-wife is upset because their son has been kidnapped. Their son, Gary Malone, has been kidnapped. Does anybody even name anybody Gary anymore? If there's any Garys out there, let me know when you were born, because it sounds like a really older name. Like, are there any young babies named Gary? I just don't see it anymore. There's nothing to do with this book. Anyway, so 72 hours. There's this thing called the Alexandria Link. Only Cotton Malone knows what it is, but it is the secret to what happened to the Library of Alexandria. And it's called the Alexandria Link. And he needs to deliver this link to the bad guys in 72 hours, or their son Gary will be killed. Now there's a twist. Cotton Malone finds out from his ex-wife that Gary is not his real son. I mean, she had an affair, and Gary is the product of that affair. And so now Cotton Malone's like, whoa, why should I give up about some illegitimate bastard that you cheated on me? But, he's a good guy. He's like, well, I raised Gary as my son. I do feel like he's my son. Gary believes I'm his father. I need to go ahead and try to save Gary because he's a good guy. And so the Alexandria Link, what is it? Is it an ancient text? Is it some ancient writing, an ancient scroll, forgotten scroll? Is it an artifact? Is it a hidden room? Is it an actual person? I mean, we've got to figure out what this is and how we save Gary Malone from the kidnappers who are going to kill him. And I love these thrillers. The same reason I love the Da Vinci Code series by Dan Brown, or really any thriller series that I read, whether it's The Gray Man or Brad Thor or Jack Carr. I love all the thrillers, but I love when they take us to exotic locations. If it's a location I've never been to in the book and it's mentioned, I will take the time and Google that location and learn about it. Most of this book actually takes place in areas I've actually been, like Rothenburg, Germany, the Rhine Valley in Germany. I've been to these places and these castles where some of these stories are set up, so I kind of knew the landscape. But anyway, I actually recommend any of you do that to any book that you read. If it is set in a place that you've never been to, Google it to see if the author is just made up that place out of his head or if it's an actual place. And if it's an actual place, read about it, figure it out, look at some of the photos of it. It actually makes the reading experience all that more better. Well, anyway, on this journey to find the Alexandria Link, to save Gary, the illegitimate son of Cotton Malone. Well, Cotton Malone has to take his ex-wife with him. That's part of the deal. He's got to take his ex-wife with him. They don't get along. One of the great parts of this book is just the way these two people have to travel together and go to search out, and they just hate each other. They don't hate each other. They're exes, they're just exes. That's all it is. That's all I need to say. You get it. How would you want to go on a globe-spanning international intrigue, mystery search hunt, treasure hunt to save the world with your ex? Oh, Lord have mercy. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't do it. Luckily, we've got this other character named Cassiopeia Witt, who is, or Cassiopeia Vitt, however you want to say it. It's it's V-I-T-T. I don't know how that's pronounced. Cassiopeia Vitt. I don't know why I thought Wit. It was a great character with a great character name. One of the best character names, I actually think, in fiction. I love when Cassiopeia Vitt shows up and helps our man Cotton Malone with his adventures. Things just get more exciting. Anyway, that's kind of the basic plot. I could read you the back, but I probably won't. I think I gave a pretty decent encapsulation of what's going on. What do I think of book number 2 in the Cotton Malone series by Steve Berry? I reviewed book number 1, The Templar Legacy, not that long ago. I liked that one. I actually like this one better. I just thought it was a better book. And I'm hoping that they get better as they go. I mean, isn't that what we want? Anyway, I give this a good, solid... Gosh, wow, man, what would I give this? It's got to be a 9.5 out of 10. I really actually enjoyed this a lot.